Okay, and we're live. Hello, guys, and welcome back to another FPL video. My name is FPL Meerkat, and today I will be rating your drafts, doing a little live stream here. I've literally never done a live stream before, so yeah, I'm pretty new to all of this, layout stuff. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. A lot of you sent in your drafts, and yeah, I'm going to go through them, rate them, and I see a couple of you in the chat there, ready to ask any questions away as I'll be going through. I've got a little ticker there at the bottom. As you can probably hear in my voice, I've not been too well this week. Been quite run down on my job this week, and yeah, so not feeling the best. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. And yeah, so just some statistics about the teams that I got. So I was 15 teams was sent into me in total. And this is the percentages of ownerships for the different positions. So in the goalkeeper position, as you can see there, 80% of the team had Areola in goal. The white names you can see there, they are the ones that were on the bench, and then the green ones were the starting goalkeeper. So Areola seems to be the goalkeeper of choice when it comes to the bench options. The 4.0 million goalkeepers seems to be the only one that might potentially get some starts. I've seen Turner as well might be making a move to Nottingham Forest. He might be the starting goalkeeper for them. That's definitely someone worth keeping an eye on. But yeah, Onana seems to be the top choice at the moment. I'm actually recording this just after Man United's game, and I did see that Onana made quite a bit of a mistake, you might say. I've not seen the match, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I've seen a few people have actually transferred out Onana based on that game. Steele as well being quite a popular pick here at 27%. Edison as well was picked by one of the managers, one of the 15. And Martinez and Johnston as well. All great picks. Maybe I'm less keen on Edison. Quite a pricey goalkeeper, and yeah, he's a bit prone to either conceding a goal late or not really making many saves. But yeah, still an interesting pick there. But yeah, definitely Areola and Onana seem to be the most popular two at this time. Moving on to the defenders, as you can see there, Gabriel and the Stupinan are clearly the two most popular options there, both at 80% of teams. Chilwell was in 60% as well. A lot of them had him on the bench, but there were a fair few that are also starting him. So that seems to be the popular starting three. Kabore was the most popular bench defender there. 4 million at Luton Town, very attacking. So yeah, he's an interesting option. I think he's in my team as well on the bench. Stones as well, a bit less popular. Obviously, Gvardiol has been confirmed as a signing for Man City, so that could be a bit of an issue when it comes to rotation. But yeah, Bayer as well, 27%. Trent only in 2 of the drafts, which I thought was interesting. His popularity has certainly decreased quite a lot. Ruben Neves and Shaw were in a couple of the drafts as well. And you can see there Trippier as well in a draft, and Timber, Saliba and Ake. And then James was also on the bench instead of Chilwell in one of the drafts there. But yeah, a little bit of variation in this one. When moving on to the midfielders, as you can see, a lot of green here. The popular formation seems to be 5 in midfield, primarily a 3-5-2. That could be a 4-5-1, but it's primarily a 3-5-2. And only one bench midfielder there, Nakamba, at two of the teams having him, 13%. Saka in 87% of teams, the majority having him. Saka, Fernandez, Martinelli seem to be the most popular 3 there by some margin. Rashford, though, as well, nearly in half of the teams that were sent in. Salah in a fair few as well, a third of them owning Salah. I think, obviously, he's a great pick, but the price tag, it's very difficult to try and fit him in. And Buemo as well, someone I really like the look of. He's currently in my team. Eze in 20%. Foden in a third of teams as well. A lot of managers thinking that he is going to be getting some starts for Man City. Of course, we will get early team news before the first game when it comes to Man City. So we'll hopefully have an understanding of whether Foden is going to be starting. So make sure you have someone in mind. If we get news that Foden's going to be benched, who you're going to switch him to. Is it going to be another Man City midfielder, or is it going to be someone of a similar price? If you're going to move up to like a Martinelli or a Fernandez, make sure you know who you're downgrading, or you've got money in the bank to make that move. Diaby as well, someone I really like the look of at 20%. And as you can see there, quite a few players who one manager had them in their draft. Son, Erdegaard, Trossard is an interesting one. I think he's been tipped to start the season purely because of the injury to Jesus. It leaves a spot in the team for the likes of a Trossard. Bowen as well in one of the teams. Maddison, Grealish, and Kluivert as well was a very interesting one to see at just 5 million. Certainly could be an interesting pick at Bournemouth. I know when his price was revealed. He was certainly on my radar in terms of an interesting pick at that sort of price. But yeah, certainly a lot of popular midfielders there and a huge amount of selection, probably the most variance out of any of the positions other than, the more template picks with Saka, Fernandez, and Martinelli. And then, of course, moving on to the forwards, 100% ownership on Haaland. Every single draft had Haaland in it and 0% had Kane in it. Definitely seems to be the popular choice at the moment is going for Haaland, and without Kane. We all know what Haaland is capable of, and I don't think any of us really want to bet against that come the start of the season. We know how badly that happened last season. Mubama, I believe is how you pronounce that. He is also in 60% of teams. He's on the bench for, I think, all of them. He's on the bench for, but he seems to be the 4.5 million forward of choice. He did get a start today in West Ham's match against Leverkusen. They got beat pretty heavily, but yeah, he is certainly a interesting pick. Watkins as well in a third of the teams there, 33%. Nicholas Jackson as well. Nkunku has obviously been picked up an injury. He's now in none of the teams. And Jesus also in 0 of these teams. These are very active managers that have sent in these teams. But yeah, there seems to be some variation between who is going to be either that second or third forward, depending on what formation you're going for. Most players I've seen going for 2 forwards, and there seems to be quite a split between, you could probably say 4 players there: Watkins, Jackson, Darwin, and Pedro. I'm on Darwin and Watkins myself. I really just think that Darwin might explode this season. Hopefully he gets the starts as well, praying he starts against Chelsea and making sure I've got a good bench option in case he doesn't. Nketiah as well in a draft could be getting a start. If Jesus is out come game week 1, he might get a start in the Community Shield. We will get information from that, obviously, and I'm sure that manager will react in case he is nowhere near the team. And Vissa as well, an interesting pick over the likes of Mbermo. He could obviously get some good points. So moving on to the teams themselves. So the first one we got here, FPL Onions or at Mayday FPL. I put everyone's Twitter handle there as well, and what I assume is their name. This one was 2 different names here, so I put them both on the screen. So Onana, of course, in goal. Trent, and the double Arsenal defense is certainly interesting in this one. Very different to what most people have gone for. Most people have gone for a double Arsenal attack. There's no Saka in this one. He's gone for Martinelli as a bit of a differential. I don't know whether that's to save money or not, but yeah, double Arsenal defense. I do personally prefer the double Arsenal attack, but just because I think that Arsenal are capable of scoring so many goals, and that Nottingham Forest fixture seems really nice on paper. But yeah, certainly an interesting and different one as well. Having 3 players as well in that Liverpool-Chelsea game, starting with Chilwell, Salah, and Trent, and obviously Haaland as well in the team. There is Haaland and Salah in this team, and an interesting one there, Osula, who I've not actually heard of. I think he might be a striker for Sheffield United. I'm not too sure how confident I am on him starting. There is Colwell on the bench as well, a 4.5 million defender to play. Going for double Chelsea defense as well as double Newcastle defense is certainly a very different draft in terms of those aspects. But yeah, I feel like it's a bit too weird for my liking. The double Chelsea defense, I don't really see why. There might be some reasoning for that, but I feel like there's better 4.5 million defenders if you wanted to go elsewhere that wasn't the double Chelsea defense. And yeah, I feel like it's missing the likes of a Saka. Obviously, Trossard could potentially be an option for the double Arsenal attack. But again, if Arsenal are going to keep clean sheets, you're going to get double the points of everyone else. So it might be a fair strategy to go for the double Arsenal defense. Saliba and Gabriel will we think will definitely play, right? I don't think Timber's going to come and displace either one of those two. He's either not going to play or he's going to displace White and play as more of an inverted fullback. But yeah, I like this team. I'm going to give these teams a rating out of 10. And I'm going to give this one, just because of the 4.5 million starting forward, I think I've got to give this one a 6. I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. I think you definitely need to improve that second striker spot. Just because I don't like I'm assuming it's 4.5 million. I've not really seen him in any drafts. But yeah, I would like someone different, I think, in that starting lineup. Moving on to Pug FPL here. A good friend of mine on the Twitter space. So we've got, or X, I guess it's called now. We've got Anana, Gabriel, Estupinan, Chilwell, a fairly template defense there. Chilwell, I guess, is a little bit more different, but yeah, covered the nice defenses there with Arsenal, Brighton, and Man United. This is also another Salah draft, Salah and Haaland, and he's gone for 2 of the 6.5 million midfielders, and he's gone for Eze and Diaby, which is really nice. I do like the look of Eze, potentially over the likes of a Matoma, who seems to be a lot more popular at the moment. Matoma was actually not in many of these drafts at all, seems to have gone down massively in popularity. I think people are starting to worry a bit more about his minutes. There are other 6.5 million midfielders who seem to be far more nailed, despite Brighton's really appetizing looking fixtures. This team's also got, he's captained Saka as well, which I've only just noticed. I do think Saka could potentially be a better captaincy pick than Haaland. Obviously, Haaland's effective ownership being how much their ownership effectively is, rather than just the ownership that the site says, is going to be over 100%. Haaland's is going to be over 100%. So you are clearly betting on the fact that Saka is going to outscore Haaland. Most of us are going to play it safe, captain Haaland, and then you're still hoping that Saka does well. But if Saka ends up outscoring Haaland, then this could be an incredibly effective play. And João Pedro in this team as well is a nice pick. Again, we have to see about his minutes. He's gone for João Pedro over the likes of Matoma. And Pau Torres as well on the bench is a nice one to sub in. Given this is Salah and Haaland draft, I think this looks really, really nice on paper. Having a Arsenal attacker and a Man United attacker as well, and covering the main defenses, I'm going to rate this one quite highly. João Pedro is nice as well. I'm going to give this one an 8.5. I think it's very close to a 9. I'm not. There might be a 10, to be honest, depending on if we find out about João Pedro getting minutes. That'd be a bit of a concern for me there. And hopefully Salah does well for you. Again, starting Chilwell up against Salah, I don't know how happy I would be about that. I think I'd much rather have someone like a Shaw, who is the same price, to potentially, I think he'd probably outscore Chilwell in the first game week, but I'm guessing you've got Chilwell for those future fixtures, much nicer looking fixtures. So yeah, I'm going to give this one an 8.5. Really nice. Next one, we've got Tom Spencer's draft. Good mate of mine. I can see him in the chat there. So going through his draft, he's got double Brighton defense, Steele and Estupinan. Hoping that Steele is in this draft as well. This is the one draft with Trippier in it, who I haven't seen many teams with at all. Of course, we know Trippier is an incredibly good asset, but Newcastle have those really, really tough fixtures at the start of the season. So we'll have to wait and see how many points Trippier gets. But if he's doing really well, you are way ahead of the curve, because it's going to be very hard to try and fit Trippier into your team. And I do prefer Trippier over the likes of a Robertson, who is the same price. But yeah, I do really like the look of this team. Matoma in the team as well. Martinelli, Rashford and Fernandes, the double up on the Man United attack, and Saka, and then Haaland captain and Watkins as well. I really like the look of this team. Not much on the bench though. 4 million defenders. I might want to put 0.5 million in the defense. Maybe, to be honest, I think I'd downgrade Trippier myself, but I do like Trippier as a little bit of a differential pick. The double Brighton defense is certainly interesting as well. You're praying that Luton don't get a goal in that first game. But yeah, this looks really nice. I'm going to give this one. Ooh. With Trippier as a bit of a differential, I think I'm also going to give this one an 8.5. I think it's very close to being really, really nice. Very, very nice draft there. Next one, we've got Fruki. Fruki50 on Twitter. So we've got, again, we're covering the main defenses here with Man United, Brighton, Arsenal, and Chelsea. I was amazed at how many drafts Chilwell is in. He's not really been in my thinking that much, but maybe I should be thinking about him a bit more. He's not one. Chelsea's not one of the defenses I was looking at covering for the start. It's more a defense that I would move into if they were looking good. Tom happy there with his rating. Yeah, there'll be one of the defenses I'd want to move into rather than starting with. But again, this draft, very strong. Double ups on the Arsenal attack, the Man United attack, and the Man City attack with Foden in there. Hopefully Foden gets his minutes. And Darwin Núñez as well to focus on the Liverpool attack without spending all that money on Salah. This is a really nice draft. Bulldog as well. Bulldog is personally my favorite 4.0 million defender. He seems to be starting regularly for Sheffield and has that attacking output as well that we all want from our defenders. So yeah, I really like the look of Bulldog. This is a nice draft. I really, really like this one. Obviously, it's missing the likes of a Salah. But yeah, it's a very strong one. Darwin Núñez as well, I think, could absolutely explode. And I really like him at the moment. Again, we could get some more indication of his minutes going up or down. But at the moment, I think he's pretty good. I think I'd predict him to start against Chelsea. He is playing against Chilwell in your team, but I really like this draft. Do I give this one a 9? I think, yeah, I'm going to give this one a 9. I really do like this draft a lot. Moving on to Jared Felon here. Jared was a really good manager in the Spotters League last year. I remember reading out his team a couple times as well. He is pretty good at the game. So this is why it interests me that his team looks very different to a lot of people's. He's also got a plug-in here, I think, which displays the away colors for a team, which is pretty sweet. I do like this plugin a lot. So he's got Martinez in goal. Obviously, we know Martinez is a great goalkeeper. Not many people going for the likes of Martinez, but I do reckon that Martinez will be amongst the top scoring goalkeepers over the season. So it might be quite a play to go with a goalkeeper who not many people are thinking about, maybe doesn't have the best fixtures to start off with, but will accumulate those points over time. And you don't want to use a transfer on your goalkeeper position. Ruben Diaz as well in defense over the likes of a Stones, probably going for the minute security there, which I do like the look of. Tarkowski, again, a player who I haven't seen a lot of drafts at all. Not too sure how highly I rate the Everton defense, but they are playing Fulham at home. Fulham do look quite far off it at the moment. So maybe that's an interesting one to go for. Again, Tarkowski, we do know that he can score one of those headers. Everton win 1-0 and he gets 15 points. That could definitely happen. But yeah, there are other defenses that I would personally target more than Tarkowski. Stupinan as well, popular. Maddison, again, a player I've not seen in many drafts at all. I don't really know what to think about Maddison. I haven't been massively impressed by him in pre-season, but again, it is just pre-season. He could be electric in this Spurs team. We don't really know much about how Spurs are going to do, but yeah, certainly an interesting one that I've not seen in a lot of teams. Saka, of course, and Salah as well. This is a Salah and Haaland draft. Diaby, the 6.5 million midfielder of choice, which I do like as a bit of a difference to the likes of a Matoma or an Mbeumo. He has looked really good in pre-season. Cliver as well, very interesting. Like I said, when his price got revealed at 5 million, I thought that was very surprising, considering how many of the other Bournemouth midfielders and starting midfielders in general have been priced at 5.5. So I think Cliver has been priced a little bit low there. I think he should have been a 5.5 million midfielder. So yeah, him coming at 5 million could be really good value, and of course allows you to spread the funds elsewhere. As you can see, he's got a very strong bench there with Chilwell and Henry. He's got two good options. No 4 million defender, but the 4 million defenders are good choices this season. So there's potentially to save some funds there. Sorry, my cough playing up. So we've got Haaland, and we've also got Nicholas Jackson as well. Looked really good in pre-season, has looked in fine form. Very different this team. I do obviously love a differential. I think my perfect score is a template team with one really good differential. I think this is a bit too different for my liking. I don't know how many points this will score in the first game week, but this could be a really high scoring team. I think this is built for the future game weeks. So this is quite nice and a lot of money on the bench. I think I'll give this one a 7.5. I do like this one, and this could easily score much better than I think it's going to. But yeah, I like this team, Jared. FPL useless next. Good username there. The double Man City defense with Edison and Ruben really going. This is a very safe defense. Obviously, Chilwell with the attacking output there, but Gabriel, Ruben, and Edison really going for the security of clean sheets there, which I don't hate. But when it comes to getting points from defenders, you are solely banking on the fact they get clean sheets. Again, you could be racking up those 6-pointers every week, but who tends to be the top scoring defenders in the game are the ones who get you attacking returns as well as the defensive returns. So I'm not too sure how much I like Ruben and Edison. Again, it's very different though. If Man City are keeping a clean sheet, you might be quite far ahead in terms of this team. It's a 3-4-3 as well, this team. Bruno Fernandes and now a Salah draft, Salah and Haaland. I'm liking how many people are being able to fit Salah into their teams. Matoma, of course, a popular pick, and Trossard is a very interesting one over the likes of a Saka. Again, we know that Arsenal are going to be sharing around the goals in their team. So if Trossard can match the likes of a Saka, then you are laughing because you've saved 1.5 million there on everyone else. So that could be really nice depending on how many minutes he gets. Visser and Jackson as well. This is quite a different team again, which is nice to see, breaking away from the template. Matty Cash as well. We're not too sure how many minutes Matty Cash is going to be getting. It's been sort of rumoured that for the Aston Villa team, Konza could be moved out to almost an inverted right back role. He has played right back before. In fact, I've heard, if you've checked out the Planet FPL podcast where they have a correspondent for Aston Villa, they mentioned about potentially Emery alternating between an attacking and a defensive fullback. So you have maybe Moreno or Digne as left back, and then you have a more defensively minded Konza on the right, and then potentially having Digne being defensive on the left and Cash being on the right, being far more advanced as he can be. And Turner on the bench as well could be a nice pick if he gets the move. Of course, right now it's blocking off getting another Arsenal asset, and of course their opening fixtures are so good. I would advise having 3 Arsenal assets in the team. I think 2 is essential. Having a third would be advisable. But it's a Salah and Haaland draft again. I do like the differences. I'm not 100% sure on the defense, though. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I think you're missing a couple of the really nice assets here. I think a little bit of tweaking, this could be a really nice team. But again, you might know better than me. This team could still score really well. And I don't like looking at everyone's team being the same, which is why I like to give quite high scores dependent on the team. Next, we have Ken's team here. Again, the main defense is all covered there. In fact, that is exactly my defense at the moment. So it's a 10 at the moment for the defense. Man United, Arsenal, Brighton, and Man City all covered there. Matoma, Saka, Rashford, Martinelli, and Foden. A really stacked defense there. Pretty template. Again, we'll have to wait and see if Foden gets the minutes. Watkins and Haaland up top. And it's even got Chilwell on the bench. This is a really, really nice team. Everything's covered. you've got the best teams with the best fixtures all around, and there's not a single weak asset in the whole team. Honestly, this might be a 10. If Foden, if we know that Foden's going to get the minutes, I think this is a 10. I think at the moment, what I would prefer is downgrading Foden to a 6.5 million and then potentially upgrading one of the bench players. I think then it would be a 10. I'm going to give this one a 9.5 because this is a really, really nice team. I think this looks very, very strong. A pinch of me next. We have got again the double Brighton defense, and Timber in the back line is interesting. Again, we're not too sure how many minutes Timber's going to be getting. I don't think he's going to be starting that first game for Arsenal. I know they have the Community Shield first. Maybe he gets benched in that one. If he starts the Community Shield, I'd be very, very interested by him. So yeah, this could be an interesting one. Bowen as well, I do like as a bit of a different pick. West Ham haven't looked too good in preseason, but Bowen has looked back to his best. Again, he did look back to his best last time, and he didn't have a very good season. And Nketiah as well. I'm assuming this guy stays very up to date with the news, having Nketiah, Bowen, and Timber all in his team. This is it's nice trying to go against the grain here. Still got Saka as well and Fernandes, and the front line of Nketiah, Watkins, and Haaland is really nice. Again, not really much on the bench there. Not too sure about Baptiste as a midfielder choice. I feel like there's quite a few better picks than Baptiste at the 4.5 million midfielder range. The double Brighton defense as well. Again, hopefully they keep a clean sheet against Brighton, against Luton, and then you're absolutely laughing in the points. This is quite nice. It's got some differences as well. I'm going to give this one an 8 just because of how many players there are that we're not too sure about their minutes. Again, if we get confirmation that the likes of Timber and Nketiah are going to get minutes, then this would be a much higher rating. But yeah, I'm going to give this one an 8. It's nice. Up next, we've got Gilmer's team. Double Man United defense, a lot of double ups in the defense for these teams. Shah and Veltman as well, trying to go a bit different with the defense. Again, a Brighton defender, but saving 0.5 million on the likes of a Stupinan. I personally think a Stupinan is well worth the 0.5 million upgrade just with his nailedness and the attacking potential from him. I think Stupinan will massively outscore Veltman come the end of the season. And Shah as well, a player I've really not seen in many teams at all. Again, this is another team whose captain Saka could be really nice if he outscores Haaland. Again, you don't really need to worry too much about the EO for game week 1, or if you own Haaland, all you're concerned about is, does Saka outscore Haaland? That's all you have to think about. And if you think he does, go for Saka captain, because I think he could very likely do it. But they both have very good fixtures on paper, and obviously Saka does have a home fixture. It's actually a triple up in the Arsenal midfield that I've seen here. Ødegaard, Martinelli, and Saka. Of course, that was really, really good last season. It's a triple up in the Man City attack and Arsenal attack. This is an incredibly spicy draft, and Darwin Núñez as well, and João Pedro on the bench. Botman and Royale on the bench. Emerson Royal on the bench. Certainly an interesting set of picks there. I do like this team a lot. It is very different, and it is very risky. It's almost too risky for my liking. All your eggs are in the baskets of Man City and Arsenal, so it's very, very heavily focused on those teams. I think it's a bit too risky for my liking, so I think I'm going to give this one a 7. That might be a little harsh on this one. Again, this could be really good given if some of the players get minutes in this team. But yeah, there's, again, few too many of the popular assets. There's no Man United attack, no Rashford or Fernandes, who I do think are good choices, maybe over the likes of a Foden or a Grealish. Up next, we've got FPL Major, who has, again, the template defense there, the same as mine. Really nice defense there. And again, the same midfield. In fact, this is a very similar team to what we saw earlier, apart from João Pedro is up front rather than Watkins. The double up on the Man United attack and the double up on the Arsenal attack and the double up on the Man City attack. So really nice spreading of the funds there, spreading of the attack. Again, quite focused on the really good attacks, though. If João Pedro is nailed for minutes, this is a really, really nice draft. And Foden, of course, as well. just because of the little bit of doubt, I'm going to give this one a 9, but it is, again, pretty template, really nice. It's got Chilwell on the bench as well, a very good first bench option. I do always like to have a good first bench option just for a little bit of safety. But yeah, really like this draft. King's Football Show is next. Double up on the Brighton defense. Again, so many teams have doubled up on a defense. This is definitely something I've been missing out on. And Burmo finally makes it into a draft. I think this might be the first one I've seen with Burmo in the side. Saka and Martinelli, the double up on the Arsenal attack, which I really like the look of. Foden again, who knows? Is he going to be a minutes risk? We think he's going to get minutes, but hopefully he does. Chilwell again, the first bench option, really nice. Rashford, Watkins, and Haaland. Honestly, again, this is a really, really strong draft. I know that a lot of these look quite similar, but the double up on the Brighton defense, again, hopefully that works out. But I think I'd much rather have one Brighton defender and one Man United defender. I just think doubling up on one of them could go really badly if you're unfortunate to get that wrong. I'm going to give this one a 9.5 because I think this is really, really strong and probably as close to a team that I personally would like to have. So yeah, do really like this draft. FPL score Jonot. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. So what have we got here? We've got Mbeumo again makes it into the team, double up on the Man United attack and Arsenal attack. Again, the defense is really covered, but Johnston in goal, certainly something a little different to the majority. There's no Man United defender in this one, but Crystal Palace defense could be very underrated. They've got quite a variety of good and bad fixtures to start off with. I think it's going to look quite poor game week 2 when he's got that fixture against Arsenal, but again, could score highly on the save points and things like that. Haaland again in the team and Nicholas Jackson. Yeah, sorry guys, for you just tuning in. I've been quite ill this week, so I keep having to mute the mic to cough. But yeah, Trusty as well. Trusty and Wee Joe on the bench there. I'm not too sure about those two assets. I've no idea how many minutes they're going to get. I think Trusty's a new signing, isn't he, for Sheffield United? But Joe, I'm really not too sure about him as a bench option. But again, most of the good attacks and defenses are covered here. I think I'd do a little bit of altering on the defense. Reece James as well. I don't really like going for Reece James. I think he's just a bit too injury prone for me. So I'm going to give this one. Do I give this one a 9? I think I'm going to go 8.5 on this one. I'm going to give 8.5. It's quite a strong draft here. FPL Ball here. Again, very nice defense, but Botman as well, a starting defender. Not too sure how I feel about starting him against Aston Villa. And then I guess he's just going to sit on the bench for the next few fixtures. Eze is in the draft as well. I'm a big fan of Eze. I think Eze and Mbeumo are the two 6.5 million midfielders of choice. That's the ones that I would personally go for. Salah again. Another Salah and Haaland draft. Nicholas Jackson, Saka, and Fernandez. Again, most of the really good attacks covered here. There's no double ups on any attacks. A really nice spread on the different attacks. I do like the look of this team. Apart from Botman starting, I think I would just find a way to potentially increase him by 0.5 maybe to get a 5 million defender, or think a bit more about the rotations with the 4.5 million defenders. Maybe the Chelsea Newcastle defender rotation works really, really well, and I've just missed it. But yeah, I would consider looking into that one, or maybe I need to look into that one. So I'm going to give this one an 8.5. I think I'm going to give this one. Just seeing actually, Jared has commented about his team. Oh, it's covering my face. Just went back and saw my team rating. Thank you for the 7.5. Ruben Diaz over Stones as rumors of Stones having hamstring injuries. I did not know about the hamstring injuries. That could be quite major and really helps with the nailedness of the other defenders. So thank you for making me aware of that. Madison's looked really good in preseason. The game against Lion City Sailors. 8 shots in 45 minutes. Well, that is Madison, isn't he? He takes a lot of shots, doesn't he? Shooting lots and on set pieces. Well, thank you very much for that, Jared. I've not looked into Madison very much at all. I don't think I'll be starting with him at all, but if he impresses in that first game, then I'll be straight on him. And I do rate that you've gone for him as a little bit of a differential against the grain. So that's really nice. We've got Vardy boys here. I don't think we've got many drafts left. I think this might be one of the last two. We've got a double up on the Brighton defense. Again, Ake is in the team. Again, if Stones does happen to be injured, then maybe Ake's minutes do go up. But you have got Laporte, you've got Ake, Akanji, Stones, Diaz, maybe even Cancelo gets into that team. There are so many options for those the defensive assets for Man City. We'll have to wait and see what the minutes are saying. We know how ruthless Pep Roulette can be. And Burmo, again, I do really like as a pick. Rashford, Martinelli, Saka, Haaland, and Darwin. This is the one of the only 4-4-2s I think I've seen. Maybe it might be the only one. And Diaby on the bench, a very strong first bench option. You could even play him over one of the defenders, to be perfectly honest. Maybe it might be really good if Ake doesn't get any minutes. You have a really strong first sub there in Diaby. There's some really good rotation here, strong rotation, which doesn't seem to be the template. It seems to be very much putting in a huge amount of money into the first team and then having as cheap as possible on the bench. I do like this team a lot. I'm gonna give this one an 8. I'm going to give this one an 8. Just we're not too sure about the minutes of some of the players, so yeah, this could be really good if the players do play their minutes. Apparently, Cancelo has had an offer to go to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I've heard some things about. In fact, it was Planet FPL's podcast on Man City, where the correspondent said about how he caused a huge amount of unrest apparently in the club. He was fouling teammates in training sessions. He was causing arguments, and they just wanted to get rid of him. And now he's gone, and he's missed out on a treble-winning season. So maybe he's just been shaken up by that. Maybe he's a bit better. Maybe he wants to stay and work with the team, or maybe he really likes to look at that kind of money. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see about Cancelo. Definitely wouldn't start with Cancelo, but it's annoying that he hasn't gone because it does make the minutes of everyone else a bit more of a risk. We've got FPL Mount here. I think this is the last one here. And then I'll answer some of your questions. So yeah, again, really nice coverage with the defense. There's no Man City defender here, but again, that might be a good thing. Son has made it into a draft. I do really like Son as a differential. Of course, he's the same price as Rashford, so you might just think to yourself, why not go for a Rashford rather than a Son? But again, Son is probably the cheapest we've seen him in absolute years. Sorry about that. Son is the cheapest we've seen in years. Haaland and Watkins, the strike partnership there. Again, Son could be really explosive if Kane leaves. It's looking quite likely that Kane might leave at the moment. And Eze's in the team as well. This is a really, really nice mix, I think, of differential and template. So I think I'm going to give this one a 9.5. It's even got a nice 4.5 million defender on the bench there. Do really like this team a lot. And yeah, I think that's the last drafts. So goodness me, sorry. So I will now go to the chat and look at some questions for you guys. Jared's got one there. Do you think Trent is a good option as it stands with Liverpool not having an out-and-out number 6, sitting a lot deeper and we're relying on attacking returns over clean sheets, which look unlikely? So being a Liverpool fan myself, I've watched all of the preseason games. I think it's very clear that Klopp is trying to do something different. I think that I think Liverpool have been very much. They've had a very similar looking team for the last 5 or so years. Very much the same kind of attacking football that they've had for seasons and seasons. So I think they're definitely trying to do something different. And whether that means Trent being more attacking, I'm not too sure. I do not like Trent as a number 6 because he's essentially playing the role that Fabinho played. And Fabinho did not get any attacking returns at all. He's obviously got a lot more potential for attacking returns than Fabinho ever did. But if he's playing in that number 6 role, I do not like him as an asset. You're paying 8 million for a defensive midfielder. I much, much prefer him if he is playing in that pivot. if he's playing as Robertson coming in as an inverted centre back, and then Trent being in that pivot role where he can be a lot more attacking, he's got the other defensive midfielder behind him to cover for him, and then he can go and he got a lot of assists at the end of last season. I think 8 million is a lot to pay for him, but the issue with Trent is that he's so expensive. If you don't start with him, it's going to be very hard to try and fit him into your team. So it could just be worth starting off with Trent to see how he does, and then you can just immediately go off of him to any different asset as well. Um, so yeah, I don't particularly like Trent as an asset as a moment. I think you are right. He's definitely relying on attacking returns over clean sheets. Liverpool defense just looks terrible. It looks as terrible as it has for many a season now. I don't think he's going to be getting many clean sheets. And in terms of the attacking returns, they might be there, but at 8 million, you are comparing him to the likes of a Martinelli, and he's comparable to a Saka, or a Nunes, or a a Foden. He's at that price bracket, and I think you're just going to get far more attacking returns from those more attacking players. And I don't think the clean sheets that you're going to get from Trent justify him getting more points. I could be totally wrong about that. I hope I'm wrong about that, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's just a little bit too pricey for me. Given Pep's selection, if you're putting another City asset in with Haaland, who do I fancy? Oh, that's a good question. My second City asset of choice at the moment would be Stones, but obviously, if you're saying that Stones is going to be injured, I do like having a City defender. City will be very likely to get the most clean sheets over the season. I know they didn't last season, but they were very unlucky to not. In terms of a second City asset, I think just watch the Community Shield game and see who starts. I think maybe Diaz. I think Ruben Diaz is probably my defender of pick. I think he's the most likely to get minutes, but Gvardiol's coming in at some insane price tag, isn't it? I think nearly 100 million euros, I think it is. So surely he's going to be getting starts. Just for comparison, Grealish came in at a similar price tag, and then Grealish started playing every single game. So I think my triple up, if Stones is injured, well, the two assets I go for is Haaland and Diaz. But if I was going for a midfielder option, in fact, actually, no, if I was going for another option, I like the look of Alvarez. Not really in many teams. De Bruyne is slowly getting back. De Bruyne is slowly getting back to fitness, so I think that Alvarez has a good chance of starting the season. There's not many forwards to pick from, so I think it could be a really nice differential punt. I wouldn't look at the fact that you're starting with two Man City forwards, because Alvarez is going to be playing a bit deeper, but he's still going to be playing in that De Bruyne role if De Bruyne is out. So I think he's got a very good chance of getting attacking returns. So yeah, I like Alvarez, Haaland, and Diaz. And then Grealish, if you want the minutes, but Grealish isn't going to get as many points, I don't think. Let's have a look. Jared again. From bits of Liverpool preseason games I've seen, Robertson has looked far more advanced than Trent. He has. That's a very interesting one. I think that's because they're trying out different systems. They're trying out Trent in this more of a 6 role. I think when the season starts, it's going to go back to how it was at the end of last season. I think Trent's going to be more advanced. He obviously has set pieces as well. He's always on the close range free kicks. But yeah, Robertson has played very, very advanced. I wouldn't underestimate Robertson. I don't think his attacking returns are going to go down that much. I know he's coming in as that inverted fullback, but as you saw in preseason, he can get assists from corners. He has been bombing up the pitch and playing the cutback balls to whoever's going to be in the midfield, whether it's going to be Jota, Gakpo, Nunes, whoever's going to be in the Liverpool front three. Yeah, I do like Robertson in terms of his assets. I do think I prefer Trippier at 6.5, but yeah, definitely keep an eye on Robertson. Looking at either Jackson or Darwin as that second striker, as a Liverpool fan, what's your thought on the striker options of the club? Well, so I went into the start of the season when the prices were revealed, and I was certain that Gakpo would be the starting striker at our club. I was thinking that Nunes was benched a lot at the end of last season. He was benched a lot. I thought it was so certain that it was going to be Gakpo leading the line, but my personal opinion on it is I think Darwin is going to be our starting number nine. I think he's going to be transformed into that starting number nine. I think Klopp's going to give him the chances to prove himself. And if he does at the start of the season, he's going to be getting a lot more minutes. I've seen a lot of pundits saying that Darwin could be on for a 20 plus goal season. I do personally agree with that. I think that Darwin is going to be accompanying Salah. If you've seen in preseason, pretty much every game, Darwin has been starting alongside Salah. They've both been tested out, and Salah has been assisting Darwin so much. I think, given the lack of options there are in the forward line, I think it's worth taking the risk on Darwin. He's also been handed the number 9 shirt, which might be a subtle little thing, but I think that's quite a huge infliction of confidence. And what makes me the most confident about Darwin getting the nod over Gakpo in the number 9 position is Gakpo is now being tested out as a midfielder. He's playing a lot deeper. We've certainly been lacking in the midfield department, so it makes sense in my head that Gakpo is going to be tested as that more advanced number 8 role. So you'll have Alisson in goal. You'll have the front four of Robertson, Van Dijk, Kanate, Trent. You then might have McAllister in the number 6 role. That's not really something we've seen too much. I think he seems to be playing more as an advanced 8 as well. But we could see McAllister in that role, and then we could see Gakpo and Soboslai as the 2 number 8s, and then one of Jota or Luis Diaz. That's the one I cannot call. I don't know if Luis Diaz or Jota is going to play in that left wing spot, and then Nunez and Salah up top. So I think pretty much all 4 of those attackers will play. It's just Jota and Diaz seem to be the rotation. But again, Jota can play up top as well. So there could be some mass rotation on the cards. I just think that Nunez is worth the punt to start the season. Gvardiol will surely be a 5.5 mil mid. He's a centre back, right? I don't know if you meant defender there by mistake. Yeah, Gvardiol's a centre back, so he'll come in as a defender on the game. And yeah, I'm sure he'll be 5.5. He's definitely more in that Diaz Stones bracket than he is of the Ake Akanji bracket in terms of minutes. So yeah, I think he definitely comes in at 5.5. Meant defender, yeah. I think I might have Soboslai at some point. Yeah, I definitely think he is more nailed. The price tag has been brought in as well. I think he will play most games in terms of 38 game season. I'd say he gets close to about 30 starts, whereas Nunez probably about 25, depending on how fit everyone is. And then Gakpo, I'm not too sure about how many starts. The thing is, right, Liverpool have so much attacking talent up front that we could very much see mass rotation regularly just because of how many different options there are. So yeah, I think Zoboslai at 7 million. I do think I prefer Bowen and potentially Madison to him at the moment, but he is another one to monitor. I think Liverpool are just a team to heavily monitor massively just because of how difficult the fixtures, the difficult fixture of Chelsea at the start. Bournemouth at home, who knows what's going to happen in that one. We beat them 9-0 at home last season, but Salah failed to score, which was an absolute 1 in a million kind of circumstance. So yeah, there are a lot of punts you could take on Liverpool, which would be really, really cool. The likes of a Jota. But again, starting the season, I like to play a bit more safe. You can gather more information and then you can take those risky punts over the more minutes risky players. At the start of the season, I like to go for my nailed starters. And I just have a hunch that Darwin's going to get some starts. That's basically what I'm going for. I do like the idea of having Darwin and Salah. Yeah, I've had drafts where I've had 0 Liverpool players. I've had drafts where I've had 3. I keep swapping between having them. I've currently got 1. I've currently got Nunez in the team. I just think Salah doesn't justify the price. I know when you don't have Salah in your team, you're not saying, I don't think Salah's going to get points. I don't think he's going to do well. You just are saying, I don't think he's going to do that well. You want to have Haaland in the team because he can just score a hat-trick like it's nothing. He can score a hat-trick off the bench. And I think we have seen the best years of Salah. I think he is slowing down. I think he's still going to have an amazing season. He'll still get over 200 points, but he's not as what's the word I'm looking for? He's not as explosive as he used to be, in terms of just beating a man. He's playing a lot more wide. He's playing in a lot more of a serviceable system. But yeah, I think that Dar- I think that Darwin Salah combo is going to be very, very similar to that Kane Son combo that we saw a couple of years ago. I think there's going to be a lot of attacking returns between the two of them if they keep continuing to get starts. And of course, if Liverpool keep continuing to score goals. Favorite differential, barring the obvious 6.5 million mids. I'm guessing you mean the likes of Eze there, because yeah, Eze is probably one of my favorite differentials. I really like Son. Son is a cool pick. I think we know how incredibly good he can be on his day. I'm just trying to think in terms of the teams, because obviously a lot of our teams cover the same amount. It's the same kind of teams. So I'm just trying to think of other clubs that I haven't seen many picks from. Maybe like a Wolves. I don't know how good Wolves are going to be this season, but maybe someone like Huang might do really well. We don't really know who's going to get the minutes there. Cunha's got a lot of goals, I think, in pre-season. But yeah, in terms of differential, I think the differential is going to be in the forward position, because it's very obvious that it's going to be Haaland, and then who is going to accompany him. I think Kane, if he stays and you can somehow fit him into the team without absolutely destroying the rest of it, could be a brilliant differential if he stays. Maybe a Højlund. Højlund could be a big differential. I don't know if he's going to start that first game. In fact, it's pretty unlikely. I think he's going to start game week 1. So I wouldn't start with him in my team, but I definitely have a route to get him in. I think Nico Jackson as well is a nice pick. I think he's looked really good in pre-season. But yeah, pretty much any forward that isn't one of Watkins or Haaland, basically, I think is a really nice differential and could be the talisman. Maybe Raul Jimenez as well from Fulham. I think he did score today. Could be a cheap, interesting one. But probably my favorite differentials are basically any of the Brighton attackers. If you can correctly predict which Brighton attacker is going to get a lot of minutes, whether it's going to be an Enciso, a Welbeck, a Undav, whoever it's going to be, Ferguson. I haven't seen any of them in drafts. Could be massive. Wilson, yeah, Wilson is a great one. I've seen quite a few people go for. Sorry, I've not seen many people go for Wilson. Again, does he get the starts? We think that Isak is the more nailed of the two. It is just frustrating having a team with two really good strikers. Again, like Liverpool with Gakpo and Nunes, you just don't know which one's going to play. Are they just going to alternate between the two? But Wilson is he'll be a fantastic pick at some point in the season. We know that. It's just, is he going to be a fantastic pick at the start of the season with how tough Newcastle's fixtures is going to be? I think he's definitely a wait and see. I feel the Man United attack and double up on the attack is super overrated. That is interesting, because I've kind of thought the same. I don't think Man United look too different to how they looked last season. I know everyone's like, they've got rid of De Gea and they've got Onana in the team. It's going to be an absolutely revolutionized team, but I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure they're going to be too different to last season. I think they're going to win a lot of games 1-0. And I do think you're right. I don't think that Man United are going to score too many goals, especially against the other competitors in the top 4. I think the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City will score a lot more goals than Man United will. So I much prefer the defense, I think. I just think with 17 clean sheets, was it last season? I know they are prone to an absolute thrashing. But yeah, I do like the look of. I would definitely have one Man United attacker, because if they do well, you're going to be very far down the ranks, because they are two very highly owned assets, Rashford and Fernandes. I would own one, but I agree. I don't think I'd own both at all. We've got some more comments here. Let me just scroll up. Onana. I'm guessing. Oh, right. You mean the Man United goalkeeper? Yeah. I was Onana from Everton. That was the one I was thinking of. Isn't he more of a defensive player? I feel like he's more defensive. To be honest, I wouldn't go anywhere near Everton. Not because I'm a Liverpool fan. I just don't think Everton ever fill me with confidence they're going to do well. Like, if Calvert-Lewin could potentially stay fit, But like the likes of McNeil plays a lot more defensive. Iwobi's probably the only one I've genuinely considered at times. He looked really good at the start of last season, but again, a lot like Almiron, so it seemed to tail off and wasn't massively explosive with the returns. Isak, Ferguson, and Haaland. That is a nice front line there. Again, Isak, haven't seen him many drafts. And Ferguson, if he can get the starts, I've just got a horrible feeling he might get rotated, but he is the future for Brighton, I think, if he's going to stay at the club. So I think he has to be warranted those minutes. It's just Welbeck. Look, Welbeck always looks good when he plays. So can Welbeck just not play at all? I'm not too sure. There's just so many options that Brighton have up top. What else have we got there? Lots of people going for Onana. The way he got lobbed today. Wow. I've seen the clip, but I've heard that it might have been a defensive error that led to that. And again, very unlikely that's going to happen in many games. I'd be more concerned about the way he's playing. I think the mistakes like that are fine because they're very unlikely to happen on a regular basis, hopefully. If Ferguson's, I agree. I think if Ferguson starts for Brighton, he is a fantastic asset. He's a really, really exciting and explosive pick. And again, there's not many picks that are massively obvious from the front line. So yeah, I do really like Ferguson as a pick. Man United most likely to win a game 1-0, 2-1. So many different options. Goals could come from anywhere. Yeah, they've got the likes of Sancho, and Anthony. They've got Garnacho. You've got Mount now. You've got obviously Fernandes and Rashford. You've got Højlund coming in. You are right. Quite similar to Arsenal in a way, except Arsenal score considerably more goals. I remember there were plenty of points last season where Saka, Martinelli, and Ødegaard all had 2 attacking returns in games, whereas with Man United, you had Casemiro getting a brace. You had Dalot getting a goal. You had all kinds of stuff happening. So yeah, I think you are right about that. If you think you could have Man City, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Chelsea, Spurs, and Liverpool are all better attacks than this Man United this season. Yeah, Brighton as well. I think I'd include in that. Man City and Arsenal definitely. Aston Villa, I think are going to have a blinder of a season. A little bit of a spoiler. I'm going to do my predictions video for the Premier League season. I have Aston Villa very high up because I think they are going to do very, very well. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people just by how well they do. I think a lot of people are tipping them to do pretty well, but I think they are just incredibly good. I would have been starting the season with Jacob Ramsey if he was fit. I would have been starting with him just because of how exciting he looked. Really unfortunately, he got injured. So Diaby is definitely in my thoughts. But yeah, Spurs, we'll have to wait and see how they do. They're planning on attacking planning on playing quite attacking style football with Postecoglou, so could potentially. And again, Chelsea, we'll have to wait and see what they do in the league. They've looked a lot better in pre-season, but yeah, do like look at them. Mitoma is in mine. Yeah, it's weird because Mitoma's ownership's gone down quite significantly. I think that's just because people haven't been. The thing is, right? We tell everyone to not take too much about pre-season, but I think this was just because of last season's pre-season. Everyone got so caught up in the hype of these really cheap attackers that were fairly good, and then when the season started, they just weren't. That's okay. It's okay to make mistakes and then switch to different assets. As long as you've got the price points covered, it's fine. Mitoma has been a proven asset in previous seasons. It's just we are a bit worried whether he's, whether he gets enough chances to get the returns. But yeah, he is a good asset still. There's just so many picks of the 6.5 million midfielder spot. Bowen as well, yeah, great shout. Really nice differential. Not a lot of people have him. But Bournemouth on the first day. I think Bournemouth might have quite a good season as well. So that draft with a Cliver in it, I think is interesting. I have to wait and see what Bournemouth do. But yeah, Jacob Ramsey went into my first draft. Yeah, I think he went into mine as well. I think I had him, Eze, and Mitoma in my first draft. And then I realized you could have Saka, Son, Rashford, Fernandez easily if you just didn't have Salah. Diaby on the bench. Yeah, really good. Stupinan, yeah, I think he is close to essential, isn't he? Just with that home fixture against Luton, you could very easily see a massive amount of points. I think he was lucky to be as explosive as he was at the end of last season. I think that's why his ownership is that high. But yeah, I think you just need him just for how high the ownership is. If he does well, you don't have him, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. I would cover like Haaland, Estupiñán, Saka. Those are the three that are really high ownership at the moment. I would have all three just because you want to play it safe. If one of them goes off and you don't have them, your rank's going to be really low at the start of the season, and nobody wants that. So yeah, even if they do badly, you're still going to be okay because most people have them. Yeah, really unfortunate injury for Ramsey. Solanke is a dark horse. He is 6.5 million, isn't he? I think Bournemouth will do quite well this season. I think he's pretty much the starting striker week in, week out for Bournemouth. I think we could easily see a brace from him against West Ham on the opening day. I know nobody's going for Solanke, but he's a proven asset. He scored a lot of goals last season, scored a lot of goals in the Championship as well. I think we could see a brace from him, and it suddenly becomes essential. He's someone that basically no one is talking about in the front line. But yeah, I do like him as a little bit of a differential pick. As if any of you guys are new to this channel, get subscribed. I make videos that are I talk a lot more about going different. I do think that going template is quite important at the start of the season, but I will never shun people away from going for differential picks. I'll never tell you it's a bad pick unless you're picking a player who doesn't play. But yeah, any player who plays could potentially do well. This is football. We see absolutely, amazing streaks happen at some point, just random points during the season. What we got here? The Clivert pick could be Christie, depending on how they line up today. Are they playing today? Playing later today? Bournemouth fan was talking on Planet FPL. Yeah, I've been tuning into all of those. If you haven't listened to those Planet FPL podcasts, essential, I would say, for the start of the season. They have a correspondent from every single Premier League team, and they just give you the insight of who they think are going to play, who they think are the best assets. Who the starting lineup's going to be. Just absolutely essential, I think. And apparently Kluivert being trained to play up front when Solanke went off. That is interesting. So he might be out of position for 5 million as well. I think he's really underpriced. I think he's been brought in as a starter for Bournemouth, and that price tag would tell you that price tag would indicate that he isn't a starter at 5 million, because all the good starting midfielders for any team have been priced at 5.5 million, the attacking ones at least. So yeah, that could be an absolutely him as a first bench option, I think would be unreal. He could even do really well in the first game. But yeah, I think Kluivert is a really cool pick, despite the price tag being so low. Could be explosive. Watkins for the win. Yes. That's Mel. Hello. Yeah, I do love Watkins. I think he's so talismanic for that Aston Villa side. He is just the focal point. He's just going to be fed constantly from the wingers. I think he did really well in that game against Newcastle as well. I remember it very well. The Newcastle away fixture last season. Yeah, I do really like Watkins as a pick. It's annoying, though, that Jesus and Nkunku have got injured, because his ownership was way, way lower. And I was really happy to have him in the team, because I was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be quite it's going to be a bit of a differential. But unfortunately, most people have him now. Most people have him now, but it's fine, because I think he's going to do really, really well. Perisic is great because he plays higher, but he says it's defender. I would be careful about Perisic. He's left back, isn't he? Spurs have Udogie, I think his name might be. Udogie might be his name. He was out on loan last season, I believe. He's come back and he looks really good in preseason. I think he could get the nod over Perisic. There might be potential that Perisic plays more as a left winger because he was a left wing back last season, wasn't he? certainly one to monitor. I think I prefer Porro if you're going to go for an attacking Spurs defender at the moment, but could be a really good player. Again, not going to shun anyone away from a player that might potentially play. And Perisic, we know, can be very explosive. Billing is the only one at 5.5 mil. Yeah, that seems very under-researched from FPL, doesn't it? Because Billing isn't even an attacking midfielder, isn't he? He just happened to play out of position for a lot of games and did very well with those, late runs into the box. Very much a Gundogan, I would call him in terms of his positioning. Yeah, it seems baffling. I wouldn't go for Billing at all. I'd go for like Tavernier as well. I think Tavernier might have been 5.5, but yeah, I think he's gotten injured. But yeah, seems really interesting pricing on Brighton, and they could be some really, really cool assets. Brooks, Atara, Anthony, Tavernier, Traore, Clivert, Christie. Yeah, could be mass rotation, unfortunately. So Solanke will probably be the nail one, and Billing as well. I was hoping, maybe that makes more sense about why Clivert might be so cheap, but again, could be a really, really cool asset. Eze is a good shout. Eze is my man. Honestly, he's been in so many of my drafts, and I can't believe his ownership's not higher. He's looked incredible in preseason. I think he's going to have a blinder of a season. I genuinely think, in terms of goal contributions, he's going to be one of the highest. I know Crystal Palace haven't been the best, and they haven't made much of a recruitment, but yeah, I think Eze is a fantastic player. And I really like him. I think he is probably my favorite of the 6.5 million midfielders. Itogi's destined to be in my squad at some point. Look better than Porro. Yeah, he's looked really attacking, hasn't he? And he's 4.5, so he could just be a really nice bench option to just have, just so that you've got that option. Could be a really cool one. Botman 4.5. Yeah, Bernardo in my team, but I don't know if he's leaving. We don't know. He's been rumored to leave for, I think, the last 2 years or something. We're not really too sure what's going on with that one. I would steer clear of picking him just because we don't know. He is 6.5 as well. There's so many options at 6.5. I think there are much more nailed options than Bernardo. But if we get early team news that he's playing against Burnley, go for him. Could be a really, really good pick, and nobody will be looking at him. So yeah, could be an interesting one. Solanke on the bench for the Bournemouth game today. Who's playing up front then? Is it Kiefer Moore? Or is it Clivert up front? Like you said, is it Clivert up front? That could be really interesting. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. I think that's really good in terms of the questions. What have we got? There's no Clivert. Yeah, it is Kiefer Moore up front. That looks pretty full strength from Bournemouth, apart from obviously Solanke. That's interesting. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know if you'd like to see more of this kind of live stream stuff. First time I've done it, so had to quickly learn how to do all the layout kind of stuff. I hope you guys have enjoyed the draft rating as well. Whether you want to see more rating of teams or more of a FPL chat, I do quite like just answering questions, getting you guys having a bit of discussion in the comments. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next FPL video.